Oh, what is happening here?
Before we back up, I'll be back. Welcome back, y'all. This is Front Porch WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
I'm your host, Graylin Bryant
And
Banks.
it's your girl, Kimber White Dupree. Hey, y'all.
Brother Nyron on the other side of the glass, y'all, right here on this bad chill Wednesday, hump day Wednesday. You know how we do, bottom of the final hour. We are joined by the one and only, the estimable Dr. Eric Griggs. Estimable.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
I've been called worse with less letters.
There you go. There you go. Which means that you are held in esteem by certain people.
I did that.
Not by me.
Oh.
Not like you.
Not by me.
No.
I just use the words to describe people. I don't necessarily feel that way.
See, that's what now I feel.
Now you feel at
I
all.
was if you was all right.
No.
Wait a
man.
minute.
No,
Wait a
man. You know it ain't gonna never sleep like that on the porch, baby. You are welcome. How you 51,000 steps yesterday, Cut?
Yeah.
Day before, was that yesterday?
Yeah, it was yesterday.
51,000 steps in a 124-hour period.
Yeah.
I need like a
12. I started at 5 in the morning. Yeah, it was 17 hours, yeah. And then, like, I've done 20 today. I'm on a walking thing. I'm working on something.
Uh-huh.
You are working
yes,
on
you
something.
are working on something.
So I'm
Yeah.
trying to do 32 a day.
miles,
32,000.
32,000 steps a
32,000
day.
steps. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I do
That's
6,000
about
steps a
16
day.
steps a day. That's good.
Yeah, I do 6,000
That's 8 miles.
steps a day.
Yeah.
I do 6,000 steps a day, and my phone tells me when I haven't achieved it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, it tells me when. So I go out and then I grab the dog, because if I got to walk, then you got to walk too.
Oh.
Come on.
I literally walk circles in the backyard.
In the back, I got to get up to these 6,000. I take him, come on, let's go walk. Don't be like, man, I'm asleep. Yeah, well, you ain't sleep
You
no
gotta get
more.
up.
Come on. If I got to walk, you got to walk.
Yeah, 10,000 steps was the arbitrary number.
Which is a good
In your phone.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, on my Apple Watch or my Fitbit or
Yep.
whatever
Mhm.
it was, 10,000 steps, and now I ignore it all.
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
well, you know that whole concept of 10,000 steps came out of nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an arbitrary number.
Arbitrary number that they are going to. Let's say that with the journey of 1,000 miles, 10,000 miles starts with what? A single
Just
step.
single step.
So let's make it 10,000 steps. Wait, what?
Everybody said okay.
Right.
Everybody said okay. Next.
And it loosely translates to about 5 miles a day.
Right.
And of course, if you get people out walking, then it's great.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's not bad, man, because it's probably the one thing that you can do that is kind to your body. It's not as jarring on your joints and it is running or anything on those, because it's natural. You put one foot in front of it and get to where you're going.
It actually it's been a little bit frustrating because I'm like, I did all this stuff all these years when I could have just been walking. Like,
Mm-hmm.
everything, I'm losing weight, all my numbers, my cardiovascular numbers, my lipids, everything is getting better, and I'm just
How's the
walking.
secondary numbers?
Yeah,
see,
that's
that
where
way
we
you see
get to,
that. How is it? The top numbers
And
are good.
yeah,
How's
that's the
those
problem. The ones on the
secondary
way.
numbers?
Well, that's the one we got to get back to, and that's part of the reason I'm doing all this walking. I will say the blood pressure meds I was on for stress have been reduced to half.
Okay,
Which is
excellent.
great.
Congratulations.
And I'm trying to walk, see if it's possible, because it's not possible all the time. If not, I'm okay with taking a pill if I have to.
Yeah.
It's cardiac protective, but see if it's possible to walk on my way back to a 30-year-old blood work number on the surface and below. What we're talking about is that I have an ASCVD score. That's your cardiovascular risk score of an cardiac event in 10 years and in your lifetime. I mistakenly, as you know, have been saying I'm doing plant-based, and I was eating everything impossible. It had said plant-based. I got it. Had plant-based frozen food meals in the refrigerator. And what we don't talk about is the fact that it's all processed.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all processed.
And because it's processed, it does a number on your lipids
Yes.
and your cholesterol and your
And with the sodium to preserve it.
sodium to preserve it and all the other things that if you're gonna eat plant-based, eat plants.
Eat
I'll just say
plants,
that.
not the
But because
chemicals.
what happened is, based on my scores, it looked like I was gonna have a cardiovascular event, 8.7% risk of a cardiovascular event in 10 years, and a 50% chance of one in my lifetime. Now, mind you, I'm healthy. I'm losing weight. I'm eating mostly plants. I'm walking everywhere. My numbers on the surface, everything looked great, but my cardiovascular risk score was up. So I'm lowering it, but I'm going to go on this huge campaign once I'm done. And that's why I'm not working, I told you, I'm not working on my weight. Everybody say you look too small. I'll never look too small to attend a funeral.
Oh, well.
I'd rather look super skinny, like I'm in high school, to not attend a funeral and attend a birthday party than be the dude in the casket.
Yeah, that looks great.
That looks amazing. That has a heart attack with normal numbers.
Yes.
And that's exactly what was happening. So I'm just walking through it, and I wear everything publicly.
Yeah.
So people can see it, so I can hopefully help someone. Go to your doctor, ask about your apolipo-B, and your cardiovascular risk score, your ASCVD score.
So when you get your numbers, or like when you have your blood work done like annually, is that something that's normally done? Is that something that you have to ask for?
Well, it should be normally done, but I don't know if everyone knows to ask for it. So I tell you, I want my ASCVD score, and I want my breakdown of my lipids. You want my apolipo-B score, and I'll give you the list of all of the other ones that aren't standard. I'm gonna look them up to date. The standard ones are, but you want to make sure you know those numbers, and most importantly, what they mean.
That's what I was just about, because your forte is plain language.
It's plain language.
You have the ability to understand the scientific applications and all the deepness that's involved in that, but your forte is bringing it and making it simple to people. This secondary level of numbers, as opposed to that top level blood pressure and that regular stuff that you get. This is a more concise or direct view into the now. The now. What's happening with you now? The top numbers are good.
Under this surface. So when you get a cholesterol panel, I'll tell you what your cholesterol's been in general. But if you get your apolipo-B, your LDL cholesterol is great.
Because that's what I wanted to ask you
This is great.
last time.
This is all great. This is all great, but it doesn't have your apolipo-B. But this is good. So I had numbers similar.
But and that's the point that you make, right? That's what I want to get to, because it's almost like we're saying the same thing and it's not being any different, but there is a difference. Having your top line number scores is very important to keep them at a righteous number.
Right.
But there is also the below that level that is going to give you a insight into your health from a more particular point of view as to what's going on with you and what could possibly happen with you soon, because it gives you like a timeline. Right.
So I'm looking for, I want to show you the pictures. What happened was, I was at my doctor's office, and which is amazing. Dr. Courtney Washington, she actually does the blood work. She drew my blood herself, and she spun it herself. And
so there's no lab. She's the lab.
She's the lab. And when you pour off the distillate, it's clear, right? And then you send that off and you throw the sediment away. Well, I happened to walk in the room, and she was like, "Wow, this is your blood."
After it's been spun.
You see that yellow?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fat in my blood with a normal cholesterol panel on the surface. And let me see, if you scroll again, we tried to pour it.
It's literally fat.
It is fat in a test tube.
When it spin off all the liquid to send off to the lab, I have fat. That's
in
literal fat.
That causes. So what happens with that? So now, can you imagine that in your blood?
That's what I was about to say. That's in your blood.
Not just in your blood, but what's it attaching to in your arteries and
inside, and that's where the plaques come from, and that's where the blocking of the flow of blood comes from. I mean, I'm going to do a campaign once all this is done. That's why I'm doing all this walking and doing all this stuff for my health. I'm going to do a campaign just to show people and tell people what to ask for. And my things were all green.
All your top line, everything was in the perfect.
HDL, the total HDL LDL. Let me see. I might have that.
All that was good.
It was green. So,
but I guess that would be why you sometimes hear Doc about people who we are exposed to, who we know in your life, in your passing, who are healthy looking.
Yes.
Well,
very healthy looking.
Healthy, and then all of a sudden they die suddenly of a heart attack. Man, but the dude ran every day, and he didn't eat no bad food. Well,
Jim fixed Father Martin running. Father Martin wrote the book, the complete book of running. Died. Running. Heart blew up. Like somebody shot him in the chest with a shotgun. It blew up. Running.
So again, you want to know your body like you know your health, and that's one of the dangers. So I recently, I'm moving into the AI realm. So I've gotten a specialization. I have a specialization certification in AI in healthcare specifically.
Okay.
And I'm working on some others and learning some coding stuff because it's the same thing. AI. People don't realize that AI has been ubiquitous in our society for a long time. Since Google started asking you and correcting your spelling and predicting your next word, to the point that when they start, what do you think looks at your email to decide what's spam and what's not?
That's right.
What's determining what's spam on your phone and what's not? It's AI. Well, in healthcare, it's a lot different. It's the same issue that I deal with in the community, right? You have people that are afraid of AI, definitely in healthcare, but then you have people in the lab that are creating all this cool stuff that doesn't mean anything because they're disconnected from
the outside.
So I have to learn everybody's stuff. So I'm learning all of that right now. And one of my pet peeves now, especially it's confirmed with this stuff, is like, it's a great thing that you're able to pull up your lab work. I'm able to pull up mine, and you're able to read what it says, the explanation they think they should give you. And you walk away with the same level of misunderstanding or more confused than you were before. And if anything else, you're scared.
Now you got more information that you don't know anything about.
Exactly. So I want to work to try to help bridge that divide and do more plain language. If I'm going to send you your lab results, I need for you to, I don't understand. And it breaks it down even more to the point that you have to give it back and be like, that's what it means. Because you can have people really hurting themselves thinking something's wrong.
That's what I want. Last week, I wanted to ask you about it. I did, when you had to leave, I was like, HDL was high. And
That's
I was
good.
like, oh my God, what is going on? And I looked it up to see like what the difference was between the LDLs and the HDLs and why would high be okay.
LDL is your lazy lipoprotein. It's lazy fat. It just lays around. Think about this. They sit around watching every football game and every season. They just sitting in blood vessels doing it. Lazy. HDL is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And the more of them around, the healthier you are. So the higher your HDL, the better the lower your cardiovascular risk factor, the better it is for you. So I say HDL.
Because I used to get, my doctor would say my cholesterol was high, but he said it was a good thing because my HDL was very high and the LDL was low, but it was pushing the total number. High, but he said don't worry about it because your total number.
There's a number. It used to be like 90, and it vacillates. It's vacillated over the years, but there's a number above a certain number value. Your HDL counts as a negative a negative in a good way. It negates
cardio. That's what he was saying.
That means the higher it is, the better off you are, the more cardioprotective.
Yeah. Now, Lori just said I had my blood work done today for my annual checkup. What should she ask for when you were just saying, because I know she's going to get the regular top line, but she should specifically ask for what?
Give me my cardiovascular risk score. You don't remember anything else. You're ASCVD. What is my cardiovascular risk score? What's the chance of me having a heart attack? Based on me sitting here right now, what's the chance of me having a heart attack in 10 years compared to the general population? And what's my chance in my lifetime?
Cardiovascular risk score.
Assessment. Cardiovascular risk score. As with everything I was trying to do healthily, I was 8.7% chance of having a heart attack in the next 10 years and 50% chance of having a cardiovascular event in the rest of my lifetime.
With everything that you wanted, with everything that you were doing.
With everything I was doing. Exercising, eating plant-based, I loaded my freezer up with these plant-based meals. Oh man, plant-based.
With the longer the shelf life, the more the preservatives, and those are the things that a lot of people do not take into account because we don't think about that, right? You think about you think about this is something I can grab quickly. This is something that is healthier than me going to McDonald's or Burger King or whatever the case is. But in order for it to have the shelf life, it's going to have something in there that is going to that's needed to preserve it, but maybe injuring you in the process.
And this is the part where we don't want to get in trouble with sponsors and all that other stuff. But this is where medicine and marketing clash. Because what they don't tell you, this is healthier than fatty meat.
Right.
Not healthy.
Than fatty meat.
Yes.
Right. Not healthy. Is it healthier than lean, top choice meat?
Right.
No, it's not.
The body is made of proteins, carbs, fats, sugar. Proteins, carbs, fats, and water. Mostly water with a little sugar, a little salt sprinkled in.
Some of them got a little more sugar.
Yeah. This dude here. And if you look at your teeth when it comes to your diet,
yes,
the average person has 32 teeth,
yes,
right? Adult teeth. You have 28 mashers and gnashers, which work great for fruits and vegetables. And then you have 4, we used to call them dog teeth kids. And that's for ripping and tearing. So what that tells me by looking at my teeth is that I need to be eating mostly plants, mashers and gnashers, and a little bit of meat every now and then. That sounds like the Mediterranean diet to me.
Yes.
And if you think about it, as we've evolved, it wasn't every day that you could catch a buffalo.
Meat.
You had to learn how to eat what was around.
And you couldn't preserve it. And at the time, you could eat it.
You had to leave it.
That was the gathering portion of the hunting and gathering.
Exactly. And as we learn to preserve things, well, that's the other thing. As the preserving of things evolved, at first it was salt. It was easy, the whole 9. But they walked and they moved and they sweated it out.
That's what I keep saying. They were not as sedentary as we are in 2024. They just weren't.
They were not. In order to eat, you had to work.
You had to work.
Wasn't it? Working in the you couldn't eat unless you worked in the field.
You don't work, you don't eat. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So, but I tell people that we look at. I've done this before. You talk about hypertension and diabetes, right? They're bad, right? You'd say they're bad, right?
I'd say so. Yeah.
And I say you're wrong. The way you talk to your genes and the way you talk to yourself is the way that you live. Imagine if you had to work from camp to camp in the morning and you didn't have a water fountain, you didn't have a snack machine. If you didn't have a mechanism to hold on to the salt to keep your blood pressure up, what happened?
You're going to fall.
And you died.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a mechanism to preserve any sugar and hold on to the sugar in your body, and working from camp to camp, you died, right?
But we have homeostasis that allows for us to do that.
Well, homeostasis, and the difference is back then is they worked.
Yeah.
They worked it up. What happened is the people that didn't have the mechanism to, when it was necessary, elevate their blood pressure or blood sugar, they died. Those with those genes, they were around, they worked, and they passed the genes on. Again, if health is 20% of what your genetics is, and 80% of how you operate in your environment. Yeah. It's a matter of whether you turn those genes on. Well, as time has evolved, we don't work as hard. We don't do physical labor anymore.
Right.
But we've adopted the dietary habits from back then. And if we are sedentary long enough, you can turn on, like me with stress, I turn on the hypertension gene. It's a gene that genetically saved our lives. That's why we're here. The diabetes, it's a gene that saved our lives. That's why we're here. The problem is, can you turn it off? And once you're diagnosed with something, you're not free of it anymore. You just have to live within the constraints of your disease, which is most of the time, a lot of times, the way you should have been living anyway. So if we look at it differently, we can take ownership of it, and it's not as daunting, and you stop beating yourself up, man. No, I turned on my superpower genes from my ancestors, and I don't need them. So let me dial them back and get to doing what they did when they had it, and see if I can live with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It makes perfect sense, because that's one of the biggest things. I've said that before. Folks talk about what folks are doing. I said, but my grandparents worked, mother, grandmother, and grandfather every day. Every day. They didn't have a car. My grandfather didn't have a car. They walked. They caught the bus. They got rides in it. But they were people that moved.
Hand wash
all
clothes.
The time. Hand wash.
Garden.
Walk around. My grandfather was a house painter. Up and down ladders all day. Up and down, stretching and moving until he had a stroke. Then he kept living and learned how to use the other side of his body, because I don't come from no quitters.
Right.
That's not in me.
But the biggest piece that we have not paid attention to in terms of diet is that, like my grandparents and even my parents, we had more plants that we ate. Meat was not something that you ate as often because it was more expensive to have meat. So you had a lot more green. You had
Did you eat out?
No. Baby, I remember when Burger King was a treat. Remember when I tell you, me and my fellas, baby, we could go where? What?
Yeah. And then your grandma's like, baby, I'm gonna make you something at home. Like, for real? And then she go get them O'Rider fries.
There you go.
Or better yet, my grandmother would have made potato.
That's my grandmother.
Do you remember growing your own plants and being excited when it's time to pick? We had a cherry tree in our backyard. We picked cherry trees, making pies.
My grandmother smothered I'm not smothered. Well, she smothered a lot of stuff, but she preserved figs. We'd have fig preserves. She made peach brandy.
Peach.
But
peach
at
brandy.
But at the same time, at this particular point, if we're gonna make, because we still make those things. There are people who still make those things, but the problem is the ingredients of where they get them from are still coming from places
the
that are
soil,
already
the water,
preserved.
and everything else.
They're getting them from freezer areas, and it's already preserved.
So you've seen on social media my brother Farmer Brad.
Yeah.
Farmer Brad's missing. Hey doc, we on the test kitchen. Every Thursday we walk in his house is beautiful. Like the front's decorated, beautiful flower. Everything in his yard is edible. So we walk through and we just pick and we make a meal. He has 80 acres of land, so he might kill a deer or have one saved. So everything's natural.
Everything's natural.
I feel so healthy.
Yes, indeed, man. I'm coming with you next Thursday.
You need to.
Dr. Eric Griggs, as always, my friend, we thank you for taking time out of your very busy walking schedule, as you would have been almost to Houston by now. Had you not stopped and came over here with us. And we sure want to thank you, my friend. Shouts out to Mark Allen Derry, who is over in Scotland or Ireland or somewhere. There you go. Have a Guinness for me, Doc. And we certainly want to thank you all for giving us 3 hours out of your lives that you'll never get back. And we certainly hope we've given you a little bit of something in return for the investment of your time. I'm your host, Braylon Bryant Banks.
And it's your girl, Kimber White Dupree. Please continue to wash your hands.
It's Brother Nyron on the other side of the glass. Intern Kennedy has left the building. Y'all practice random acts of kindness. Do something nice for somebody just because it's a nice thing to do. Lori says, thank you, Doc. She's going to ask her doctor when she gets home, email him and ask him to run that test on her blood.
And let us know.
If
you're comfortable.
If you're comfortable, let us know. Cam said the same thing. Y'all take care of each other. Do something nice for somebody just because it's a nice thing to do. Take care of yourselves. And we're going to see y'all on the flip.